Good morning. This is day 2 of, listening to sermons and talking about those things, and also maybe something about fitness later. Today's sermon was called The Triumph of God's Love. It's by John MacArthur. It covers the verses from Romans 8, verses 31 through 38. John MacArthur, another preacher who's passed away recently, who passed away I think a few months ago. Triumph of God's Love is about how nothing can separate us from the love of God, and that's whether it's us and our actions, right? God will not reject us, or whether or not we can reject God once we've truly accepted Him into our lives. Now, there's a couple sides to this, and he asks kind of two questions, right? One is, would God ever reject us? Now, his points from there go into if God would give his greatest gifts, right? So his greatest gift to us was his son dying on a cross, crucified to take away our sins, right? If he would give us that, why would he not continue to give us lesser gifts like grace and mercy and things like that, which when we sin, right? He knew before he ever sent Jesus and had him be sacrificed for us, the sins that we were going to commit, right? So how do our sins that he already knew we were going to commit, that he already sent Jesus to die for, how would that separate us from him, right? Next is, could somebody else convince God to separate from us? Like, you get the story of Job, you get, even he talks about, could somebody else, and there's the answer there again is obviously no, right? Like, if he won't, there's nobody that can change us. He says, like that he justifies us through faith, right? So he can't condemn us and justify us at the same time, right? So if somebody comes and tells God, Brandon's a terrible sinner, he's the worst Christian ever, God would be like, but he's my son, right? Or he's my daughter, right? I'm not a daughter, I'm a dude. But so then next, the other question is obviously, can we be separated, or can we separate ourselves from God? And this is kind of the second half of those set of verses, where it's talking about neither height nor depth, tribulations, violence, time, right? It says things to come, right? Can separate us from God. And what he talks about is, for Christians, trials and tribulations, things of those nature, actually strengthen our faith by making us hate sin more, hate evil more, right? Which I understand, because like, you see that it's not God that is like necessarily causing these terrible things, right? It's things that are wrong that are causing it, right? So my love for God and my appreciation for God grows, right? And my hatred for things that are bad also grows. And then he does kind of mention and have some commentary on, people that talk about well, I know somebody who walked away from the faith. And I wanted to read that. It's a verse that it covers, which was 1 John 2:19. And the verse was, they went from us because they were not of us, right? Which is more or less a commentary on the fact that if you are able to leave the faith, you were never truly in the faith, right? He's kind of speaking to people that kind of, like he talks about deconstruction, right? What do you call it? Ex-evangelist or ex-evangelist? I don't remember. But it's all the deconstructionist stuff that's been going on lately. And 1 second. So, a couple things that he talked about right away at the beginning of the sermon that I'd like to kind of mention was one, he brings up the moment before he gets betrayed, where I believe it says something in the verses, I can't remember if it was John, where he says he loved them fully or completely, right? He's talking about his disciples. And at that point, he knew all of the terrible things that were going to happen, right? He knew Peter was going to deny him. He knew Judas was going to betray him. He knew all of this, and he still loved his disciples, right? Completely. So God knew, or Jesus knew, what was coming his way, and that all of them were going to turn from him, right? And yet he still loved them, right? And that's a really great example of God's love for us. And then I think I had one other little short thing. No, I think that covers mostly it. It's a good, simple, sort of nothing too complicated, but it has a lot of meaning for us. And I actually had this conversation with my daughter earlier this year, where she was asking this question: is can we lose our faith, right? Because it's hard when you sin and you sin and you sin, and we all sin every day, whether you're trying to or not. And will God ever get tired of us, right? Will God ever leave us? But it's very clear in the Bible that he won't, right? It's an open invitation to us to be believers, to come back to him when we, after we sin, to get forgiveness and all that. Oh, I remember another point that he had, which was kind of a list of 4 things that people desire the most, right? I think it goes food, water, shelter, and then love. And it talks about how people are seeking not just like love, like, boyfriend, girlfriend, dating, but like a deeper kind of love. And that's really what God gives us, right? That's the only kind of love. That's the only love that can really fill that need. So, cool. All right, and then for fitness things for the day, I'm going to talk a little bit about building habits, right? So something that happens for me, I make my life a lot easier, is I've got some habits that I have that really help to make sure that I'm either eating my food correctly or going to the gym on time, right? And a lot of this is habits, getting things ready and things that prepare me for the day, right? So every couple of weeks I cook a bunch of meals of food, right? And I know some people can't eat like the same couple types of food for weeks at a time. But I'm telling you right now, it makes my life a lot easier. I have ground beef just cooked up in containers in the sizes that I am expecting to eat it in, with a little bit of cheese on it, just a little. And everything is measured in weight. You know, it takes me 2 hours, maybe 3 hours every couple weeks to do that prep. I throw them in the freezer, and then I pull it out. A lot of times I don't even pull it out before I heat it up. I just put them I put my meals into my backpack, and I throw them in the fridge at work, and then I'll microwave them there. And I'll just do it like a low power so that they don't heat up too quick and like just turn into like, you know, jerky. But no, if I know that I have the food that I need prepared, I'm much less likely to go and grab something else, right? I'm much less likely to run around snacking and munching. You know, I'm much less likely when somebody brings a Kringle in. I love Kringle, come on. Somebody brings in some snacks, some food. I'm much less likely to give in to those temptations to have those things. You know, it also makes it easy when I get home. I don't have to cook during the week, right? I just throw my food in the microwave, and it's good to go. I know that I'm getting exactly what I want, what I need. It tastes good too. You know what I mean? And then another thing I do though every day is after I get home from work, because I go to the gym and then I go straight to work. Then I pick up my kid, pick up Gunner from school, and I come home. After that, pretty early in the evening, like I'll probably eat my dinner, but then the next thing I do, I clear out my bag with my dirty clothes in it and my towel in it, and I get the next bag ready. As I get my clothes all ready for the gym and for work, and I get it all put together. I don't do it last thing before bed. I do it early to make sure that, you know, you get tired, you know, you're hanging out with your wife, you're hanging out with your kids, you know, the Packer game's on until 10 o'clock because it's a, you know, 7 o'clock game, or it's a Monday night, you know, whatever happens, or you go to church, or you've got sports, right? There's so many distractions, which are all good things, right? I'm happy to go to church. I'm happy to see my kids. Sports. I'm happy for all of those things. I love taking a walk with my wife at 7:45 and getting home at 8:30, and then we gotta start getting ready for bed. I love all that, but I'm less likely to go to the gym in the morning if I have to get like my own clothes out in the morning, or get my work clothes out in the morning. If I have all of that ready, another thing you can do is I put my bag in the trunk of my car with my work clothes in it, so that like if I decide not to go to the gym, I have to actually go outside to my car, bring my bag into the house, and change. You know what I mean? Like, it's just things you can do to like really make it hard to fail, right? Like, make it hard to not do the right thing, and make it easy to succeed, right? But yeah, so build habits, put yourself in a situation to do what is good for you. So give yourself the right food. Give yourself, put your clothes and everything, set up everything you need. I have all my drinks ready. I have all my food ready. I have my water bottle filled up, my pre-workout, yummy, delicious stuff ready with electrolytes in it. You know, stuff like that. Have that all ready early and often, right? So that the temptation to deviate is hard to fall into. Yeah, so Triumph of God's Love, John MacArthur. I really enjoyed his sermon. I know there's some weird politics stuff around him, but nothing egregious. There was just some disagreements inside, like, kind of political spheres, so I don't really care about any of that. I'm here for the from the learning, and I don't think that there's anything in there that was bad. Tomorrow there is a sermon I think it's from, let me see who the gentleman's name is real quick. Got my notebook, my handy dandy notebook. It's called, I think, Chasing Jesus. And I can't remember his name. Let me do better. I'll do better, I promise. His name is, or Jesus Calling, there we go, by Phil Johnson, and that's out of Matthew. So I'm looking forward to that one. I enjoyed that one as well. But I'm going to keep doing this every weekday. I think I mentioned every day in the previous video, but it's going to be every weekday. And again, this is really just to share kind of things that I'm learning. I am no wonderful teacher or commentator or anything. I'm just kind of going to talk about what I hear, and if I see something I disagree with, I'll say something. But this is all just to just have something for other people. It's quick and easy. Maybe they can get something out of it, right? So, all right. Have a good day, y'all. Thanks for watching.